would be some advice to you from you to someone who's never owned a Doberman, thinking about getting a puppy? How should they handle a puppy?
So our first thing was like crate training. We bought him a crate, and he did the first couple of nights was absolutely horrible.
It's
honestly.
normal.
Yeah.
So bad.
But you guys didn't give in.
No, I just felt bad for my roommates. It was like up to like 3, 4 a.m. and it was just howling. And I was like, damn, is this dog ever going to stop? But eventually it did. And so, the crate was like, let's get it. This that go and get it with no hesitation.
This that never quit. Start that elevation. This that process. What is up, guys? Here with another episode of Elevated Canine Podcast. And I'm here with my co-host,
Roel Guerra.
And today we have our good friend, Celine.
Hello, everyone.
You guys might know her from TikTok. Celine, what is it? Celine Tales?
Celine Tales, yes.
So, and today we're gonna cover a few different things. I know she's excited to share some of her experiences. And you want to get started, Roel?
Sure. So, why don't we get started with obviously who you are. Let's talk about all the animals you have.
Oh my gosh.
How many animals do you have?
So I currently have 19 pets.
19. Could you name them all off right now?
It is very
not their names.
Oh,
but what kind of animals?
I was like, damn.
What kind of animals?
Let's say how many reptiles, how many.
So I mean, for the reptiles, this is like rough estimates, but I have frogs. I have about 5 frogs, 2 snakes, a bearded dragon. We have cats. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 cats. I do breed cats, by the way. That's why there's a insane amount. We have 4 dogs, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So, I also have 2 spiders.
That's it. She said that's it.
That's it.
That's it, guys. That's all it is.
I barely handle 4 dogs.
Yeah, and so obviously it's a zoo in our household, but it's a fun day. Every single day is great. And I pretty much just do like social media work right now for TikTok and all that good stuff. So it's really
does it get overwhelming?
It does. So I mean, obviously it's not a lifestyle for everyone.
Yeah.
It's a very specific lifestyle. I mean, every single day. I mean, I think I spend like at least 90% of my day cleaning.
So let me ask you this: how did it turn into this? I know you were doing like vet. You were working at a vet, I think, or something like that.
Yes. So I have been working in vet med since I was 16. So I've been doing it for quite some time. Ever since I was growing up, I was always like, I'm going to be a vet when I grow up. This is like what I want to do.
That's awesome.
You know?
And then?
Yeah. And so I got my vet tech license. I was going to the University of Montana for 2 years. And then I decided to come home because I was like, I love it out here. It's great. But I was out there for wildlife biology. And then so I came home, decided to do vet tech stuff, got the license and everything, was working in the field. And then COVID hit. And it was absolutely horrible.
What changed? What was the biggest change when COVID hit?
So it was just the clients. Like, a lot of people get into working, they want to be a vet because they're like, you know what, I love animals. This is what I want to do. I love dogs. I love cats. Like, I hate people, but, these animals have owners. And so I think people fail to get that. And so during COVID, I think it was just like a very high stressful time for everyone. And when I was working, I was definitely, all my friends were working from home, and I had to go into the hospital, and we were overwhelmed. I mean, I'm sure all medical staff was very, very overwhelmed. And so I was working like 12 hours. I was working like insane amounts, and I just got like this feeling like I was just being overworked. I was burnt out. Clients were just irritable. Because it was, what was it? You had to be in your car.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you couldn't come in to see the vet personally. Everything was over the phone. So clients were just like the worst of the worst, you know? And obviously we had some good ones. And not only with that, there was an increase in people buying puppies, cats, because, people are born at home. So people wouldn't go to reputable breeders. They would just go to people on Craigslist. And most of the time they were sick. So I would see these sick, puppies and kittens 24/7 with parvo. Most of the time they just want to euthanize because they don't have enough money to continue treatment.
Wow.
And so it was a lot. So
I am curious about that right now that you're talking about that though. So basically the vet, I mean, if somebody goes and say something's wrong with the dog, but say it's not like it's not something that is, life or death, it's just something that they can't fix at the time. If they don't have the money, people will they won't just put them down, right?
It depends on the vet you go to. Yeah.
So some vets
will just because they just want money, so they'll just be like, yeah, sure, we'll do it, But most of the time, at least the vets that I was working with, for example, we did have a dog that came in and it was blind in one eye. And the
Mm-hmm.
the only way for this dog to, it was older, and
Yeah.
they were like, the vet was like, we recommend, taking the eye out. The dog's going to be blind for the rest of its remainder of its life. And the owners were straight up like, I don't think that's a good quality of life. So can we euthanize? And
Wow.
my vet was like, there's nothing else wrong with your dog. It's just, it just needs the eye removal. And so I came in and I was like, you know what, I'll take the dog, because there's no way
Mm-hmm.
we're going to do that. And so I ended up giving the dog to my mom, and he's still alive now. I mean,
awesome.
it's been
Wow.
3 years.
That is crazy.
But I'm sure it does happen.
Yep.
It does happen very often. And most of the time people can't afford pet
Mhm.
care, and it does get very costly. I mean, I always recommend pet insurance.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Get pet insurance for your pet. I mean, it seems like a big investment now, but in the long run, it'll save you so much money.
Right.
And so, I mean, only a handful of people actually have pet insurance,
Yep.
and so I was seeing a lot of that in the hospital, and it was really hard. I mean, you would go, one room would be a puppy exam, and it would be all happy and stuff, and then the next room would be like a dog euthanization,
Wow.
and
Yeah, those
so
are
it's,
tough, huh?
it's tough, and
Yeah.
it's hard for vets to go from, one room to another being all happy, and then your next room's like, oh, I'm so sorry for
Yeah.
your loss, so
Yeah,
it's,
that's out of I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
I
and
couldn't
it's-
imagine having to put a dog down as a vet tech or as a vet.
I mean, I'm sure you get used to it. Like,
And
it's
then
just a
you
job,
walk-
but then
you-
it's like,
Yeah, but then like
Then the next
say
room.
it happens, you're dealing with a family, and then you walk into the next room and have to be a completely different person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to like bury your emotions
Exactly.
and be a professional.
Mhm.
It has to be tough.
It's just another day in the job, and so
That's
over that,
nuts.
like, that's something you don't learn in school either. I mean, I was
Mhm.
in tech school for 2 years, and then I was en route to going to vet school. I mean, I wanted to go to Western University. I was finishing up my bachelor's degree in bio,
mm-hmm.
and so that was the plan. Go straight to vet school, but then when I was working in the field as a tech, I was like, the pay's like not that great. You're dealing
Yeah.
with not just one type of animal. You're not just dealing with dogs. You're dealing with dogs and cats.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes there's emergency situations that would come in. I was doing reception work. I was pretty much jack of all trades. I had to work
Yeah.
in surgery, deal with clients, do doctor's notes. It took a really big toll on me. And then,
Yeah, and I think vets, they really. I mean, I think it's tough, and because there's some really good ones that aren't just in it, for the money, but then like it's expensive to go to school
Oh,
for
yeah.
to become a vet,
for
and
sure.
so I understand sometimes it's like, yo, like you gotta pay, and some
is a
like, what, you don't care
business.
about the dog, you're just gonna let him die, like if I can't pay it, like. I mean, it's like it's tough. It's a tough position for vets, I think, too.
At
And
the end of the day, it's a business.
yeah, I
It
mean
is.
that's it.
It
But
is.
wow. Anyways, so after
COVID.
so what happened when you decided to switch? Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about because so I met Celine through because she hit us up for some training, and we got Draco, who's an awesome Doberman. She's invested a bunch of time and money into training and all that. So he's really good. How did that come about, Draco? You've always wanted like a Doberman, and then
Since I was a kid, my mom, coming from kind of like a stricter Asian household, they think Asians, honestly, like, I'm not speaking for all Asians, but they think that bigger dogs, bigger mess, bigger poop, they
Mhm.
smell, no big dogs pretty much. And so I've always grown up with small dogs. And I told myself, when I move out, I do want a personal protection dog,
Mhm.
because I do go a lot of places by myself. I wanted a dog where I can bring everywhere. So moving out, even when I was a kid, I was like, I'm getting a Doberman. Like, I did all this research, and literally, I think like, I don't know, a couple months after I moved out, I was like, all right, I think it's time. I have a
Yeah.
backyard, I have the space, I have the time, I have the money. I think I'm ready for one, and so that's why I ended up getting Draco. So
what was it? What you expected?
honestly, it's hard. It was harder than I expected, for sure. If I didn't have you,
Mhm.
and the team and all the training and stuff, it would be totally different than what it is now. But
Yeah, I think and then some people they only see like what we share online and stuff, but yeah, like I mean Draco he's a working dog. He's got that
Yes.
drive. He's not like a just a couch potato. And so if he wasn't able to do that, I think you would definitely would have had a lot more issues with him. But right, and then so you got Draco, and then you decided to get your second one,
Tana.
Katana. And then, so yeah, tell us
It's
a little bit
kinda
about
like
that. Or why don't we go and talk about the Doberman in general? Like, what are the good qualities, and what are some pros and cons, and some of the things that you advise people as far as the Doberman goes?
Yeah, so I think Dobermans, they're great dogs. They really are, but for the right person, And I think especially with social media and online, there's a lot of videos that portray them as like cute, like cuddly dogs, and they're just great with everyone. They're great with all people. But I mean, at the end of the day, they were ultimately bred to protect. You know, that's the history of the Doberman. They literally were bred to by attacks. I think his Lewis Doberman, to go on tax runs to protect him and scare and intimidate people.
Got it.
You know, and so that's kind of like, and I think people forget the history of the Doberman too, and that's ultimately why they're here. They're working dogs. Definitely lines have been like watered down over time. They're not the same as they were before, but they definitely still have that working drive in them. I can't speak for all Dobermans, but definitely for Draco. Katana's a completely different story, but she comes from more show lines.
Got it.
You know, so it's definitely two different types of dogs. His whole pedigree was working pedigree. He needs constant training. So like some pros, I mean, they're great dogs, like I was saying, but if you don't put in the time and the training and the money and the effort to bring them up to what they can be, they're not.
Yeah,
they're not good dogs.
Thanks to you, we've had a influx of Dobermans that come through, yeah, I mean, a lot of the issues that we see. I mean, Roa, what are some of the issues that you've had to deal with when that comes, and not just the Doberman, but like, you know, obviously every breed has its, you know, dogs with problems. That's just it. Yeah. But it's funny because I mean, even with the Corso, I see consistencies with the Corso that I see a lot of Corsos with, and then I see things with the Doberman that I see a lot of Dobermans with. And so while I want to say, you know, there's good ones and bad ones, like the characteristics of the dogs and it's of each breed are very similar in the good ones and the bad ones. Yeah. So what are some of the things that you've kind of seen?
Well, we get a lot of Dobermans, and the biggest issue that I get with the Dobermans is, I guess we call it separation anxiety. They hate being away. They don't even know me. They've only known me for a day. And as soon as I put them in a different room, or if I put them in a crate, they go nuts. And I don't know if it's because the owners never crate trained them. I do know there's this thing in the Doberman community that they call them Velcro dogs. And it's because they just want to stay attached. So I had a dog that if I put him in the crate, he would hurt himself trying to get out of it. That's how much he hated. And they were happiest. And, you know, one of the good qualities, I guess, and why people, I would say, over coddle these dogs is because of how affectionate and needy the Dobermans can be. Because they'll just run right up to you and push their body into you and look at you in your eyes. And it's like they're looking into your soul.
Yeah.
And you're going to eat that up.
Yeah, and it will make you feel good when you're petting the dog and doing all that. So a lot of that is more for the owner than the dog.
Exactly.
But I think they're doing a disservice sometimes to the dog.
Definitely.
I mean we've dealt with some issues with, like, you know, people getting all up in their faces and doing all that, and we know how that goes. Sometimes, you know, some dogs don't like that, and I've seen Dobermans that really don't like people being all up in their face, and you know, so I think that, you know, again, it's more for the owner and for the human than for the dog. And I think that sometimes, over coddling the dog and not wanting to spend 1 minute away from the dog is a disservice to the dog. And that's, you know, all dogs in general, but I'm just saying that's one of the biggest issues we see with dogs that come in, Dobermans that come in.
And that is all dogs. But just like Oscar was saying, there are some breeds where there are specific characteristics that you'll notice in that group of dogs. And I think with the Doberman, they're gonna be a little bit more attached, and it'll be easier for them to develop separation anxiety than other breeds.
Also, if you're gonna get your knees taken out by a dog, it's probably gonna be a Doberman. Those suckers will run right into you.
They have so many bruises just by owning these giant dogs.
So what would be some advice to you from you to someone who's never owned a Doberman, thinking about getting a puppy? How should they handle a puppy that has these issues with the Velcro issue?
So my first step with Draco, when I first got, because I knew that when I was doing my research, I was like, damn, they seem really like intense with the emotions and the cuddling and the Velcro-ness. So our first thing was like crate training. I was like immediately to the crate. And as much as I wanted to sleep with him and have him on our bed and, you know, all that stuff, I was like, he needs to learn how to be independent, be by himself, because there's going to be, you know, a couple times hours of the day where I'm not going to be home. No one's going to be home. So he needs to learn how to be happy by himself, and he needs to learn how to chill. You know, that's
Love
really
it.
important. And so we bought him a crate, and he did. The first couple of nights was absolutely horrible.
It's
honestly,
normal.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was so bad.
But you guys didn't give in.
No, I mean, I just felt bad for my roommates. But other
Yeah.
than that, it was a constant. Like it was like up to like 3, 4 a.m. and it was just howling. Like it was nonstop. And I was like, damn, is this dog ever gonna stop? But eventually it did. And so, yeah, the crate was like our best friend, you know. And so I think that really helped us like build that like separation. Like you can't have like everything you want with us, you know. We can cuddle from time to time. I allow you on the couch when it's time for you to be allowed on the couch, but we definitely established like rules from day one.
Boundaries.
It was very hard though.
Yeah.
Like a puppy Doberman, like they're literally insane.
Yeah, and they're really cute.
They're
I mean,
very cute. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, come on, they're adorable. And so, I mean, other than that, like I always tell people, I mean, a lot of people DM me on Instagram, like, hey, how do I fix this? How my Doberman's biting me? I always tell them straight up, I am not a professional trainer.
Yeah.
I got professional training straight up day one. I had a trainer set up before I even brought Draco home.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the last thing I want is an out of control Doberman. They already have very bad like breed stigma, you know? So the last thing I want is like a loss, you know, something going on. And so we had that trainer. I mean, granted, it wasn't the best trainer, you know, but we did do something starting from at least like the second week I had him home, just so he can get acclimated from the first week.
100%.
So,
yeah, that's good.
yeah.
I think anybody listening right now, you know, definitely if you're gonna get a puppy, start looking at resources that you're gonna be able to use once you get your puppy. Elevated Canine, LA,
Yes, sir.
Orange County,
Straight
Riverside,
up.
San Bernardino. I mean, I'm just saying. But
You know.
anyways,
You know.
so when you brought in the second dog, I think it was a pretty smooth transition, right?
Yeah, Katana was a breeze. Katana was so easy. I mean, I was taking a gamble, you know, getting an older dog overseas. Personally, I wanted an older dog because I didn't want to go through with the ear posting thing again. That was, I mean, not saying it was a bad experience. It was just a lot of work for us because we're located in Irvine. And so driving to Dr. Butchko's office in Riverside, it was just a far drive, and he did walk-ins only. And it was just, we didn't know many vets in the area. So it was difficult. So I was like, I don't really want to deal with that again. And I'm not really ready for another puppy. So I had some friends, and his family owns a kennel out in Serbia. And so that's how we were able to get an older dog, because it's not easy to get a well-bred older Doberman, because most kennels just want to keep the dog for breeding or whatever.
100%.
But since it was a family friend of his, we were able to get Katana. I had to make sure she was good with cats. So I told him from day one, I was like, we need a dog that's good with cats, people, just like a well-tempered dog. And so Katana would honestly like hit all those marks. I mean, he could have been lying, and I would have been like, whatever, I'll take the dog anyways. But she's a great dog, and I think it was a good like transition into the family, because Draco's like this crazy high energy working dog, and Katana's more on like the chill side. Definitely more on the chill side. She's still like a good pet dog, but I think like since her line was definitely like more like working and like obedient, or not working, I'm sorry, show and obedience. That's why it just like melded the two together really well. And plus Draco, like, I mean, I don't recommend people going out there and getting a friend for their dog. By any means, don't do that, you know? But in our case, with my situation, it did help Draco be less needy. You know?
Awesome.
So he's less dependent on me. When it was just him, he would follow me around literally every single room. I was doing laundry, and he would be in like my peripherals, like standing at the doorway. I'm like, dude, you can just like chill downstairs. You know, you don't need to follow me all the way up here. But since we got Katana, he's been less dependent on me and my boyfriend, and a little bit more dependent on her, which is they depend on each other. So
That's
I think
cool.
that definitely helps.
So I know you did a breeding with Katana and Draco. Talk to us a little bit about just what went into that from the beginning. I know, and people have this idea that they're gonna make a lot of money from breeding, and we were just talking before we got on the podcast. And can you talk to us a little bit about your experience with it?
Sure, yeah. So we've been planning the breeding for quite some time now. This wasn't something that I woke up one day and I was like, oh my god, they have all these followers on social, like let's just breed them, you know. So that wasn't our intentions at all. I just wanted to put that out there. So we've been planning this for honestly like over a year now. And so ever since we got Katana for that sole reason. We were looking for a female prospect, and she was the perfect candidate. And so it was a lot of process getting, even to getting puppies. And so, I mean, the first step was all the health testing. I mean, we weren't even sure we were able to breed Draco or Katana. Like I wasn't banking on them for, money or anything. I mean, first step was health testing and through the OFA, so the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals. And Dobermans have a plethora, a long list of health issues that need to be tested for. And so going back and forth from like cardiologist exams to get them screened for DCM, doing the echocardiogram, it was like a 24-hour Holter monitor. We did all of that. We did the eyes. They did their annual blood work, thyroid check, hips, elbows. And by the way, all of this was not cheap. It was very expensive. It all has to be done by a specialist, especially the cardio appointments. So that's done by a board certified cardiologist. And so that was a very long process, and we did it for both of them. So that already costs a couple $1,000 times 2. And then on top of that, I mean, the training, because I didn't want to have, horribly tempered dogs. And people would be like, why are you breeding these 2 out of control dogs? So training for both of them. So that was a whole another thing. Draco's en route to getting his titles right now as well. And on top of that, reproductive exams. So we didn't let them breed naturally just because Katana was not having it. I mean, the vet was even saying if you have 2, like a male and female living together, they don't view each other as, it was more like a sibling kind of thing. So usually the female won't let the male like mount. So we had to do it at, where was it? SoCal Canine Reproductive Clinic in Riverside. I believe it was in Riverside. And so that was we had to get progesterone tests every single day. They were doing blood work. They had to get Draco's sperm, and they had to like check the count. It was a very long process, and it took like a total of I mean, I was planning this for over a year, but it took a total of probably 6 months. And then the puppies came, and that was a whole other.
Yeah, and what did you have? How many did you have? Okay, 3.
We only had 3 girls actually.
Got it.
And so, I mean, I don't know how people like litters of 10. Like 3 was crazy.
But that was because you did a whole bunch of things with them. It wasn't just like, you just left them in their litter box and then that was it.
That's true.
I think that's another thing that, if you want to be a responsible breeder, I think you got to, pay attention to all that.
Yeah. So we did a lot. We did a lot with the puppies when they were younger. We did the ENS training. I was like literally caught, like I was like playing with their hands every single day, their paws, their paws, playing with their ears. I was playing like music for them on the TV, like desensitization, sounds, noises, literally like, banging like pots and pans, like on top of their whelping box. Just trying to get them used to like as many different sounds as possible. I had the cats running around the house. I have my roommates, they bring people over. The whelping box was in the living room just because that's the place where everyone gathers. So the TV's always on. There's always someone home, And so we did that. And then we also, I had a couple of breeders that were my mentors that helped me out. And so we did just like a bunch of random stuff, like having them walk on different surfaces, tarp, all that stuff, having a ball pit, just getting them used. Oh, and I also created them when they reached, I think it was 8 or 9 weeks.
And how long did you keep them?
So with Dobermans, you have to crop as a responsible breeder, I feel like it was my responsibility to have them cropped and docked before going home.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Yes. Yeah. So I kept them for longer than normal. So most breeders do send them home around 8 weeks. However, with the ear cropping is done at 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, but we did it at 8 weeks. And so getting those appointments, it's hard because going to a reputable, good ear cropper in the area, there's not many.
Yeah.
So your options are very limited. I only had like 2 or 3 that were on my list, and doing the research to find a good ear cropping doctor in itself was very difficult. So getting that appointment, I had to make that appointment the day that they were born. The day they were born, I called the vet and I was like, hey, I just had a litter of Doberman puppies. They need to get cropped at this day when they're this age, and they fit me in. But they said, it's a good thing you called early because some people wait too late and then that window closes. Yeah. Especially if it's a highly sought out veterinarian. And so I kept them. I think I still have one right now. She's 12 weeks. Yeah. And so the other 2 went home because the parents live near the ear place and they're able to do the recheck. But the last puppy, she lives in San Jose. So she asked me to keep her until the last.
And not many people will do that. Like most people want the dogs out of their house at 8 weeks, but people that care, I think people that care about their breedings and their puppies, I think, they'll do everything you did. I know when I got Benny, I think Alexia at Potrero, she had already crate trained them and stuff. She started at like 6 weeks. and he was so clean in the crate. Man, that was
Oh
like
yeah.
the best thing that I could get. You know,
Yeah.
the last thing you want to deal with is a dirty puppy in the crate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with all that being said, what will you be doing it again?
It really just depends if they pass their health tests again.
Mm-hmm.
If not, maybe adding another female into the program. But as of right now, probably not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely tentative. It was a hard work. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't easy. I mean, especially with the Doberman breed, they're not just like a breed. It's not like I'm not speaking for all French bulldogs or like
Mhm.
breeders or anything. It's not like a small dog where you can just, leave them and they can chill in their whelping box. No, like these dogs literally learned how to climb out of the whelping box when they
Yep.
were super young. And then I came home and we have like puppies running around my living room. And I'm like, what happened? Like, how did you learn? And
Yeah.
I swear, like, they're just so smart at a young
Yep.
age. So they require like that extra amount of attention. And the time too. I mean, it was absolutely insane. And like I said, I literally only had 3 and it was so difficult. But it was a
Dang.
very, very rewarding experience.
Mm-hmm.
I loved every minute of it. I would love to do it again, maybe in the future, but as of right now,
Yeah, I think it'll be
Yeah,
smoother on
yeah.
the next one. This was like your
Definitely. This was like
your
a-
first
Yeah.
one. It was like your crash course,
it was hard. It was hard.
We mentioned it earlier. You have a pretty big social media following on TikTok. You're Celine Tales, and you have close to 1.5 million followers. And what I appreciate about your social media presence is it's not just entertainment. It's not just dances and
Yeah.
trends, and you bring a lot of value to the dog community, especially to the Doberman community. But I know there's also a lot of misconceptions and false information on social media regarding the Doberman breed. Could you talk about that? Maybe
Of
some of the
course.
negative things you see and some of the positive things you might see on social media
Yeah,
for your
sure.
breed.
So, I mean, social media is a great tool. Everyone uses it daily. It's 2022. It's fun, but it's a great tool, and it's helpful for people to know how to navigate through social media. And you have to realize that not everything you see on social media is particularly true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, especially with the Doberman breed, and Instagram, for example, I mean, I think that a lot of people have this misinterpretation that European Dobermans are supposed to be like this giant, I'm not going to name names, by the way,
Yeah.
this giant, mastiff looking, like huge 150-pound dog, when in
Mhm.
reality, I mean, they're ultimately bred to work. And so how can this giant dog probably already has a lot of health problems because the breed is riddled with different types of health problems, even work properly or like do competitions and stuff. And so with that, I mean, I think that there's just a lot of, especially the Doberman shout out pages, they're kind of like showing and displaying like these giant, massive type dogs. And especially in the comments.
These pages are like the ones that are built just off of like other people's posts and stuff, right? And
yeah. So like the shout out pages.
so those are
Yeah.
basically ones like that'll charge you to put their
Yeah.
put your post up or that
Yeah,
type of stuff. Got it.
Exactly. So they'll charge these accounts, or I've had a bunch of these in my DMs. Like they'll literally reach out to me and they'll be like, "Hey, it's going to be this much money to post your post on our account. Like, do you want to do it?" Most of the time, breeders do it just to get word out of their kennel and to sell their puppies. But they've been shouting out just like these like giant looking dogs, and it's everyone in the comments are like, "Oh my God, this is so cool. Like your dog looks great." And obviously these people don't know much about the Doberman breed, because if you're just scrolling mindlessly on Instagram, let's say, and you see like this cool looking giant
For
Doberman,
sure.
it looks sick.
Yeah.
I want one, this is amazing. And so they'll reach out to the breeder, and the breeder's charging like, I think he's charging like 8,000 per dog now. It's crazy. And so this one dog, has won. He's actually won a lot of shows in these European countries, but they're competing with a smaller amount of dogs. That's why they're winning so often. And so,
But it's completely different, like because that's why they
standard.
call it the European Doberman or whatever. But like even
Yes.
like if you see the AKC ones,
not.
they're way different
yes,
than the European ones, right?
yeah. So that's actually another misconception. So the AKC standard, it's American Dobermans are different for sure. Europeans, however, it's the FCI standard, and it's not. If you read the standard, it's not super different.
Got it.
It's a little similar, but I mean it's a little. There's minor differences, but it's not super crazy like hyper type European Mastiff looking like that
Got
or
it.
anything. They still are sleek, slender, working type dogs. They're around. I think the max for male is like 80s.
Really?
80s, yeah, almost 80 something ish. Yeah, so it's not near 100 or 90 at all. Yeah, not even close. And so with social media, I mean, like I was saying, like there's so many people that see these giant dogs and they just think it's the coolest thing. And so that's why more backyard breeders are breeding giant looking Mastiff Doberman.
I mean,
They're
I'm not gonna
called
lie. I don't
hyper
know.
types. Yeah.
I don't know a lot. Like if I wasn't into the working side of things,
Yeah.
I mean, those big suckers look
They look
beautiful.
yeah.
I mean, they look
They look
stunning.
dope.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you look at most of the videos of them though, they are panting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably just because they can't even like breathe or like properly. And for the I'm not sure if
I do notice the big old chest.
Yeah, that's-
so
the
they do
big
have
cavity.
the giant
That's the
barrel
weird thing,
chest.
yeah.
And so Dobermans are prone to DCM. That's just a given.
What is
Most
that?
of them. So DCM is dilated cardiomyopathy. It's a heart condition. Primarily in Dobermans, they're not really sure. They don't really know the cause of it. Genetics, food induced. I mean, it could be a plethora of different things. Poor breeding. And so these dogs are prone to DCM. And so when you see a dog with a giant barrel chest, that's very concerning. When you see them always panting, because a sign of DCM, early on stages or symptoms, they would be like panting, coughing, all these things. If you overwork them too much, they probably can't, their heart can't keep up with it pretty much. And they'll just drop dead at a very young age. They usually drop dead around, I think, 5 to 6.
Dang.
It's like
Is that no? I was gonna say that's kind of like what because the Great Danes don't last long,
Oh, Great
and that's
Danes don't
probably
last long
because of,
either.
you know, they're huge
They're
dogs,
huge
too. But
yeah, I mean, it's a given. Like bigger dogs, unfortunately, just don't live for that long. But there are some cases where you see a Doberman live for like 10 or 12 years. But I
Right.
think the lifespan for a Doberman isn't even that old. I think it's around like 8 or 9.
like those
I'm
big ones, or
seeing.
you're talking about like
I'm
general?
seeing
In
just
general.
in general. I haven't seen any that I mean, I've only owned Dobermans now for around 3 years.
Yeah.
And with the time of me having an Instagram page for Draco and following all these accounts and seeing the Doberman community and being friends with all these people, I've probably seen over 6 or 7 Dobermans die prematurely
Wow.
due to DCM.
Wow.
Just being
In
on
these last
just
3
scrolling
years.
on Instagram, yeah. Just, and then it's really sad because these people really, really love their dogs. And so
Right.
I'm seeing like a new one every like couple months, every 3 months, one passing away, just dropping dead randomly.
Wow.
And so there's not really much to even prevent that, unfortunately. It's just checking on their heart annually, doing the, vet visits with the cardiologist, doing your Holters, medication, I guess, if
Yeah.
you do catch it too late. But it's just kind of, unfortunately, like inevitable.
Man,
Yeah.
that's kind of scary. I mean,
Yeah.
you
It
know
is.
that. Yeah,
I
that's-
had no clue. I didn't know. idea.
Yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
either. So that
Yeah, that's something that you, when you're doing research about getting this breed, though, that's something that you do learn about is DCM, and they make it very apparent on like all like these, online that DCM is like the #1 silent killer for Dobermans, and so I think it's over like 50% of Dobermans pass
Oh
away
man.
due to DCM.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I know it's a statistic.
Man,
No.
that is crazy.
It's crazy. It's a very, very high amount. And so even when it comes to, your breeding stock, so I was talking to some breeders and I asked them, I was like, if your dog, let's say one of your dogs diagnosed with DCM, do you totally eliminate that dog from breeding?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I was getting some mixed answers. Some breeders will say that no, they don't, because then the gene pool would be too limited. It'd be too small. So they will still come, because you can breed that out, according to some breeders. But then other breeders are like, no, we're done. Like that dog's done breeding.
Got it.
But it's just one of those things.
Yeah,
that
but there's so many people not doing health tests.
That is
I mean, they'll do like maybe the hips and then that's it. They don't really do
hips and
anything else.
elbows.
But yeah, I actually got contacted by somebody who wanted to breed. It was a dog that we trained, and that's why I hit you up. I was like, hey,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
the list of like things
Stuff.
that they need before they think about breeding? And it was a huge list. I was like, here you go. So I don't know if they're gonna do it, but yeah,
It's a long
I don't know if they would
list.
do it, but I mean, if they do decide to breed, I hope they do.
Yeah.
Make sure they get all that done.
That is true. Yeah.
Man, that was some good information. So I mean, let's go shift a little bit from dogs into like social media.
Oh yes.
I mean,
fun.
give us some secrets.
tips.
What's up? What is it?
Yeah. So I TikTok, man. So TikTok is I think that's where I create most of my content. I mean, Instagram, I'm still very active on Instagram. Don't get me wrong, but TikTok is something that I started for fun. Like
Yeah.
this wasn't. I didn't go into it. I wasn't gonna go into TikTok saying I'm gonna have millions of followers one day and this is gonna be like
3 years ago you started?
It was you
mean-
went into it having fun, but it was very
It was for fun.
tactful.
It-
You went in there.
I was at the time it was COVID and
Yeah.
I was working at the animal hospital and I was like fine with being, I mean, I was burnt out, of course, like I mentioned earlier, but I was still down to do like the vet tech stuff. You know, I was like, I'm going to school. I've already invested so much time in this. I've been so determined. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And so my boyfriend actually persuaded me to quit my job. And I was like, because my social media platforms were taking off. It was crazy.
It was just you sharing like your dogs.
It was just me sharing Draco and Katana. I had my other pets too, so sometimes they would be on it, but it was mostly the cats, some of my reptiles here and there, but it was mostly the Dobermans. And I was just sharing like our daily life, and so this one video went like mega viral, and I feel like it's always the videos where you don't put any effort into that go viral, and I'm like, why did this stupid ass video go viral? Like this is like the dumbest shit. And so it was a video of me feeding my dogs. It was just a feeding video. And this is what I do every single day. And I was like, why don't I just like share this with the world? You know, whatever. I'll just put it out there if it gets views, whatever. But this is what I do. Yeah. So it was like, I have to admit, I do have like this crazy feeding routine for my dogs. And it was just, like I said, it was straight up video, nothing crazy. And that video got 67 million views.
Wow.
Plus, it's still doing numbers today. And so after that video, like everything, like I woke up one day and I had like literally my notifications like just like blew up. I had like 22,000 followers overnight. Like that was like, I was asleep for like 6-8 hours.
Something similar happened to me, but I lost. I lost 46,000 overnight.
Wait a minute.
Because I woke up one day and my TikTok account was gone.
Negatives. Yeah. And so after that, I just started creating more content. I was like, okay, maybe we're onto something, you know, and maybe people really like seeing how we take care of Dobermans and, or how I take care of my dogs. So I just started posting a little bit more consistently. And in the beginning, like I said, it was for fun. You know, it was straight up for fun. It was COVID. I was bored at home, nothing else to do. Well, make some TikToks, you know, why not? And so after I quit my job I was like, damn, I can actually, you know, start making maybe a living off of this. And I mean, sure enough, that actually did kind of happen.
Nice.
Which is crazy. I mean,
you have like sponsorships and stuff.
Yeah,
now, right?
I have like BarkBox sponsorships. I have PetSmart, like Harry Potter. I worked with Playboy for like the dogs. Not me. The dogs. The dogs worked with Playboy. They were actually in a Playboy shoot. And it was the first time Dobermans were ever in Playboy, which is crazy. Published,
which magazine? No.
You know,
for dog reasons.
For sure.
They were like in a music video too, right?
They were in a music video. Yeah, they were in a music video for this Latin artist. Yeah, a pretty big or not even. He was like a rapper. He was pretty famous. I didn't even know his name, but they were in music videos.
How did they contacted you through?
They contacted me. So I actually used to do modeling.
Got it.
Way back when. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking about this, but I used to do modeling. I used to do Instagram stuff for myself, actually. Never would I ever think that I would shift my gears into doing it for my pets or anything, but it was for fun, you know? Yeah. And so I was a part of a modeling agency, and that's how I had like my connections in like LA. I did like a YG music video. It was this is the past, you know?
Yeah. You were in a YG music video?
I was in a YG music video, but
we work with YG.
He's got Dobermans.
He's got Dobermans.
Yeah, Dobermans, yeah. So, but yeah, and so it was like they reached out. I had friends that, and then you got Dobermans? Yeah, I got Dobermans. And then they just like messaged me, and I was like, yeah, we'll do the music video, you know? Cool. So that was kind of like the start of everything. And it was just really, it was a weird shift because I'm used to like, you know, science stuff, biology. Like I was like doing in school, like I changed my majors too because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go to vet school anymore. So let's just shift. I'm doing like research methods now. Communication and research methods. And so it was like a weird shift for school as well, since I am still a full-time college student.
Right.
It's my summer break right now, so I thank the Lord I have time for everything, but juggling everything's like crazy. Like when I was working at the animal hospital, I was definitely at my breaking point, I think, doing social media, juggling everything, working a 9 to 5, going to school, taking care of all the pets. Like it was a lot.
Yeah. Did you ever go through like, like anxiety or like that type of stuff, or you were pretty?
No, I was pretty like chill on the. I was never really like an anxious person. I was always pretty like confident with. Like, who I am and,
like the stress didn't really, you know.
There were some days where I'm just like, damn, today's just gonna be a long ass day, you know. But I got to get through it, you know. I have to take care of all the pets. It's not just about me anymore. Yeah. I have a lot of responsibilities, and so it was just. I think, but then over time, obviously, being so stressed out definitely did take a toll. I can see it physically. I was physically tired. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to go out, like juggling a social life, like non-existent. I didn't want to talk to my friends, ignore the group chat, ignore the text. Like I was just by myself, you know, and with my boyfriend, and I was I mean, I wasn't happy. I was just tired, content, you know, but I wasn't at my full like peak happiness. And I can see it physically taking a toll on me. Like I would sleep a whole 8 hours. I would just be so tired when I wake up, and I was like, damn, I have to do this again. Another day, you know? And so when I quit my job was when I actually was truly happy. And so just doing social media full time, I mean, it is hard work. Yeah, I know. Talk to us a little bit about that. Like, I mean, what goes into creating content? Hey, we're gonna put you guys in some game. What goes into creating? This is some top secret stuff right here. No, maybe not. No. I'll share my tips. She's gonna have a Patreon account. Link in bio. Yeah. If you guys what's the secret to? I mean, give us a couple of things to, you know, maybe not just dog, but somebody that has pets and wants to. So it's I'm no expert, but I'm clearly doing something right. You know, if it's gotten this far in such a short amount of time. I think that especially with TikTok, I mean, I can speak for TikTok and Instagram because that's the two platforms. I do YouTube here and there. But consistency is just number one. You know, there's some days I wake up, I don't want to film content. I'm tired. I just want to be on my phone scrolling mindlessly. I don't want to like entertain others right now or like educate other people. I'm just tired. But, you know, consistency is something that is so important, especially on social media and the algorithm. TikTok favors consistency. So if you're posting, and TikTok is it's a new app, right? So the algorithm's crazy. It's not like any other, you know, social media platform we've seen in the past. It's not like Facebook. It's not like, it's so different, you know. It's similar, kind of like Vine, but Vine was only around for like such a short period of time. It's not worthy enough to compare it to TikTok. But I think consistency is just number one. And so with TikTok, you can't just, especially if you're starting off, you can't just post one video a day. You can't just be like, here's a video. No, you need to be posting 3 to 4 times a day. A day. Oh, that's a job. 24 hour. That's a whole ass job. I was gonna say, that's a full. Treat it like a job. It is. So, I mean, if you want to make money, exactly. Like so, I mean, that's like I think my mistake. I mean, coming onto TikTok, I was doing it for fun, like I said, so I wasn't posting that consistently. But after, I do have people that are very not like higher ups into TikTok, but they do TikTok as their full time job, and they're like mentors. So I do have 2 mentors that help me out. Really? Daily. You pay them, or I do pay them. Okay, got it. I pay them, and if I have any questions about the algorithm, they pretty much have an answer to it. So it's pretty much it's a couple things. It's consistency, 3 to 4 videos a day. Using trending sounds, you need to stay updated on what sounds are trending. You can't just use a random sound that, I like this song. No, that video is not going to go viral. Got it. I mean, I'm not saying it's never, but it might. Probably not if you're starting off. Hashtags. Hashtags is also trending hashtag. Trending hashtags. That hashtags is its own ass. Posting certain times of posts. You need to know when your audience is online. It's a lot of analytics. It's looking at your audience and your followers. What like who your viewers, like who are you trying to gauge to? If you're trying to like have this video pertain to kids, you're not going to post at a time that they're in school, right? You know, or in class. You're going to post when they're out of class, like what, 3 to 5, when they're allowed to be on their phones. For adults, you know, most of the time we're sitting in bed on our phones before bed. So posting at like what, 7, 9 around there. So it's a lot of like different things. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much goes into social media. Yeah. And so when I tell when I tell people that, hey, social media is my job. Social media is my job. They're just, I feel like a lot of people, I mean, brush it off. Like, I would brush it off. Shit. When I was not doing content creation stuff, when I was working at a vet, I would tell people, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I'm a vet tech. I'm going to vet school. I'm doing bio. I'm doing this. Like, here's all my schooling. I got all these degrees." But now it's like, "Okay, what do you do?" And I'm like, content creation, and then you know, and I feel like influencer. I'm an influencer. I hate that word, right? Why? Why? I mean, I just feel like it has a negative connotation. The connotation, you know. And so when you think of an influencer, you think of, you know, Instagram hot girls in like bikinis or something, right? Like trying to promote like their flat tummy tea or like their waist trainer or like, you know. So it's just it doesn't have the best connotation. And so going from like doing the whole vet thing to it's a different shift, and I'm even still adjusting to this day, even talking about it. Yeah, and I think for girls it's probably harder. Like, you know, it's
yo, I'm not out there doing this, all these other
Yeah.
things that are getting girls followers. Like, I'm actually putting out some quality
Yeah.
content. And I think, definitely, I could see how that would
Yeah.
affect.
And so like there's just there's just some days where I just want to scroll on my phone. Like I don't want to do this, you know,
Right.
24/7, but it
Yeah.
is a full-time job. And sometimes since it's not about me, my channel is not just, I'm not like the star of the show. It's my pets. Like there's some days they don't want to film, you
Right.
know? And so people are like, oh, how come Wolf, my Chihuahua Pomeranian, she hates the camera? You know, imagine
Mhm.
like a phone in your face.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary for an animal, especially if you're not used to this.
Mhm.
And I got her as a puppy. She's not used to having phones in her face like Draco is. And so I don't show Wolf that often. Just because she gets anxious, she freezes up, and people will just assume like, hey, you
What
don't love your dog.
Mhm.
You don't love your dog because you don't show her on camera. And I'm just like, no, I actually, like, she's not comfortable with that. So it's like these little things that get like nitpicked by
Right.
by my followers or by whoever's viewing my content.
Mhm.
And it gets like changed into like a whole different narrative where it's like, oh, she doesn't love her dog because
Right.
it's not on. Or like when Pablo was gone to training for
Mhm.
board and train, he was gone for like 5 to 7 weeks.
Yeah.
People were like, did you get rid of Pablo? Did you get rid of Pablo? Like, where is he? You're not
Yeah,
showing him
and they will
anymore.
freaking go after you.
Oh no,
if
they
you
were
did.
every single video that I posted, he wasn't in it. Draco wasn't in some of them either because he was gone for training too. They were both gone at the same time.
Right.
I was straight up just posting puppies, you know, for X
Right.
amount of time.
Yeah.
What happened to your dog? Is Draco still with you? Did you give Pablo away? And it's just all these crazy assumptions. And
Yeah.
I swear it was like a wildfire and it
Yeah.
just blew up like that overnight. And if I don't go out there and put these disclaimers, like people will literally take things to
Oh
heart.
yeah.
It's like the end of the world. Like I posted this one video talking about shitty dog food. You know, no
Yeah.
offense if you feed your dog these things, but it was just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And so I posted this one video just saying like, oh, you know, this dog food's not that great. Like whatever, you know, I just use a trending sound. It was like a quick little video. People were pissed. Like,
Of course.
oh my God, like you're an ableist, you're an elitist. Some people can't afford to feed their dogs these certain foods. And I'm like, damn, like I have to
Yeah.
really put out a disclaimer out there. Like, I'm so sorry for like if you took it like that, but I'm just putting out my opinions.
Mhm.
And so I feel like a lot of things on social media do get, you know,
Does
you
it
think
affect?
of it
Does it
one
affect
way.
you? Like when you get like negative
In
comments
the
and stuff
beginning,
like
it
that?
did, but I think I was used to it with Draco's account because he had his ears posted,
Mm-hmm.
and so we cropped and docked, you know.
Yeah.
And so that is a
Oh, I-
whole nother
Yeah.
thing. I mean, people were so mad. Like they were like, "You're an animal abuser. I can't believe you did."
Mm-hmm. I'm sure
this
you
to your
still
dog."
get it on every
Oh
video,
no,
right?
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was really hard because I'm like, damn, man, I'm just trying to show my cute ass puppy, you know, like
Yeah.
without getting like hate messages. But it's crazy because they'll be posted in one picture, and I would get all these, "What the fuck did you do to your dog? You're mutilating your dog." And then the next post would be like him without his bandages in, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's the cutest dog." you
Yeah.
know?
It's the same people.
And I'm just
right?
like, it's literally like, you know, the same damn thing, but okay,
Yeah.
go off, right? And so, yeah, I would tell my boyfriend, like, "Babe, they're commenting all these mean things. Like, what do I do?" And you know, he's like, "I don't know, man, just brush it off. Like, ignore the hate, and it's easier said than done. You know, I
100%.
can tell people, and people do ask, like, what do you do when people like hate on your dog's crops? And I'm just like, I can tell you just to sit there and ignore it and block them, but
Mhm.
I know it gets to you.
Yeah.
It got to me to some extent, but now it's like, I'm kind of just like, all right, whatever. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be pissed about it
Yeah.
because I'm doing me, you do you,
Uh-huh.
you know? And
Yep.
if you're mad about it, you can comment or you can just keep on scrolling.
Yep.
Um,
We always get comments like that too because we post Corsos, a lot of
Oh.
Corsos and Dobermans with the
The
ear
ear
crops
crops.
and stuff, and there's always one person or a couple
Yeah,
people.
I like them better with the
Yeah.
ears.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
stupid
oh.
little,
it would-
snide,
Yeah.
passive
And,
aggressive.
like I would
Yeah,
post
literally.
like, oh, this person's working with this dog. Like, oh yeah, well for sure they don't love them because they crop their ears. It's like,
What?
okay.
Like, okay,
And then
cool.
I don't even acknowledge it. Like
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
like delete it now.
But I'm just like, what did you get from like?
They don't
posting
get
that?
any. I
Like,
don't think
what
people
is
get
your-
anything
what
from it.
satisfaction did you get? Like,
Some
what do
people
they
just like to
do?
smell their own breath.
It's just weird.
I think and like for me, even with my own trainer, sometimes like I'll see them like trying to like because they want to defend if they're talking about me or a training technique that we use or whatever, and they want to defend, and I'm like, look, you're not gonna change. Like this person literally is all day probably just arguing with people online. You're not gonna change their opinion. They want you to get into an argument with them so they could have something to do for the rest of the day. I'm like, don't feed it and don't give it any energy. Like just
Cut
squash it
off
right.
at-
Yeah, like just cut it off. Like block them if you have to, And I just think it, but yeah, it does affect you sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes people say the stupidest thing, and I'm just like, Like,
why
I
are you
want
hitting that dog?
I want to say something. I want to say something, but I'm like, you know what? It's just you're not
It's
going to
just
change
not
their
worth it.
opinion, and
Exactly.
that's just
And
that's
especially
just
that with the anti-croppers and stuff, they probably never have owned a dog that went through the cropping process.
Right.
So it's not as bad as people make it out to be.
And their dogs are mutilated too.
Exactly. Like they're
No uterus, no balls. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And so like,
That's
people make
mutilated. I'd
it
rather have
is.
my balls in my ears. You know what I mean?
Agreed. And so it's just like it's people just don't understand. Like they hate what they don't understand.
Right.
You know? And I think the first reaction when they see a poor puppy with the ears like in the post, like, oh my God, like why did you do that? You know? And so they've never gone through it before.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And it's not, I mean, I just went through it with the puppies. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It was not that bad. They didn't even like realize what was on like their head. Like they didn't bother. They didn't even touch it. They have the cones on. They leave it alone. They're puppies. They don't even know what's going on half the time. And so it's just like their first initial reaction. But then also their excuses are, oh, it's illegal in the UK. It's illegal. There's a lot of things that are illegal in America that should be legal. You know what I mean? And so it's the same. Like just because something is legal doesn't necessarily make it wrong. And so yeah, it's a horrible whirlwind, but it's something that you deal with owning these dogs.
Yeah, we're always gonna deal with.
Also like the prongs and the e-collars.
Yeah, same thing.
We're
always gonna deal with something, and it always comes from people that are not, educated.
They've
never even tried to learn about it, and it's funny because the people that do use those tools, like we want to learn about the most positive way to train something. But we also have seen another version, and these trainers, they'll rather not deal with some of the issues that we deal with because they're like, we're not gonna, like if you have a dog with dog reactivity, well, we're not gonna get a dog close to another dog until we have them doing all the. So you're gonna be there for 2 or 3 years working, and you're still gonna have that issue there, and they just kind of like brush. Anyways. That's a whole different podcast, but Anyway, so what's next? What's next for for you for the dogs? What do you have going on?
So I always have like a million, and I have so many. Every single day is like a crazy day, but we're launching dog treats. So we're doing dehydrated.
Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so
and your previous product.
Oh yeah. So I actually run 2 businesses along with like all the social media stuff and then the pets and all that good stuff. But I do, I have like a personal protection like tool thing, Hellhounds LA. So we've been doing merch for that. I'm just tired of like bad dog merch, just like.
Why do you look at my shirt though?
Your shirt's fine.
Don't look at my shirt. This actually, that's
kind of cool. That's dope.
Yeah, this shirt is dope.
That shirt is dope.
That's a dope
Andy,
shirt.
if you want this shirt, go hit up Andy Kruger over there on Instagram.
I don't know. I just feel like the Dobermans are obviously really cool looking dogs.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's not enough merch that represents them.
I agree.
There's a lot of cool Belgian Malinois shit, and stuff. There's not many Doberman stuff, or much Doberman merch, and so that's why I did Hellhounds. But that's just like my fun passion project. It was my first business I've ever ran on my own, and it's a good learning experience so far. But it's doing pretty well. And then I have Wolf Snacks, which is launching. I've always been very passionate about like dog and pet food and like canine nutrition. When I was doing all the vet stuff, I wanted to be a canine, like board certified canine nutritionist, like as a vet. So this is kind of my way of doing that. So I've been working with some vets, but it's very straight up. It's just dehydrated dog treats. So we're looking into like getting a commercial kitchen and stuff like that. So it's really exciting. We're talking to a lot of like local farmers, and it's honestly been really hard though because of COVID. Like there's like a shortage on like literally everything. So it's been very difficult, but we're going to they're working on the website right now. We just worked with the product team for like packaging design. So that was really cool. So that'll probably be launching in July. And then we're doing some stuff with Draco. We're doing his BH.
Yep. We're going to do his BH next month.
Yep.
Right? Yeah,
Coming
next
up.
month.
Yeah, next month.
And then after that, I think we'll probably try to get his one for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see how
we're
it goes.
excited for him in that. So we're going to be doing that. And then I also started Barn Hunt with Katana and Draco.
She took after it?
Yeah. She liked it.
Awesome.
They both they really love it. Like super, I don't know. It's
natural to them.
It was a natural instinct thing. So they both really loved it. And then, summer break. So I'm just chilling, trying to enjoy as much time off of school as I can. I was going to do summer school, but I was like, nah, fuck that. I need to take some time for myself.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What did you bring today for your show and tell?
So, little kind of sad, but I'm gonna show you guys anyways.
A purse? No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
not that's a nice purse, by the way. So my cat, Mr. Crouton here, he actually passed away
No.
this year. Yeah, he actually
How old was he?
was like 2.
Wow.
And so he, I'm not sure, but he got out of the back door. I think Draco knows how to open doors, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's crazy. I didn't even teach him that. But I think he opened the back door. And so, like I said, I have a lot of cats, and he was like not picking favorites, but he was one of my favorites. And he got out, and this is his little collar here, and that's his photo. But we hired bloodhounds to search for him because people were saying like, oh, you should just, leave food out. He'll come back, or leave the garage open. So we literally did everything. We put signs up all over our house. And so last resort was bloodhounds. So we paid like so much money for this lady with like 3 bloodhounds to come out. And then I had his collar. So the bloodhounds like sniffed this collar and they were able to it was crazy. They were able to detect his scent. And so we let her do her thing. And so they pretty much like went searching our neighborhood for a trail. And so she called me like 2 hours later, and she was like, hey, we found his like hair on
Coyote.
and then Coyote scat. And I was like, it was really hard for me and my boyfriend. And this was like before the year ended, and I literally didn't tell anyone. I didn't even tell the internet because there was no body, you know. So it was hard. So
did she actually show you hair?
Yeah, I met her up. It was like at like this roundabout on like this little grass patch. And so I went there with my boyfriend. And so she's like, this hair. And it was literally the color of his hair. And my boyfriend was like, nah, bro, like she's crapping. Like she brought hair and she put it down. I was like, no, babe, that's his hair. Like that was literally his hair. It was crazy. But I mean,
was that your first like pet that you lose like that?
Yeah. I've never in a million years would think that I would lose a pet to a coyote, because who think, I mean, I know I have coyotes in my area.
They're savages.
Yeah, there's like literally sightings all the time. But I'm like, no, my pets are indoors. I don't leave them outside.
They'll snatch a cat,
literally.
no problem.
And so it was like, it happened like, she thinks that it happened that day, the day he got out, because there was literally no signs of him after that. And so I was getting like phone calls of like people in my neighborhood, like, hey, I see a cat. Is it your cat? And then I would come out, it's like not him, but I know people are like either looking for him or like they're always walking around.
Right. You would see the cat.
You would see
right
the
there.
cat. Yeah. He's not like a crazy like.
And where they found the hair, was it kind of like close to like the foothills or anything like that?
It was not really. It was like kind of in like, there's like a turn like at the street, and then there was just like a grassy tree patch there.
Yeah, but there's a lot of coyotes out that way, though.
Especially in Irvine. And so never would I have ever thought that I would lose a pet like that. But it was very difficult. It was really hard. So that's why this is like my baby, So I don't have like ashes or anything like that. So that was like the sad part. So I only have his collar.
That's tough. Oof.
Yeah. But the bloodhounds, man, that I didn't think that was going to work.
That's pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy.
How many days before you call the...
It rained too. It was probably like 3 days.
Wow.
And
still picked up the trail.
And it rained. And this was during like rainy. It was like December.
Crazy. I'm just to see if I want to get into this bloodhound business. How much do you pay for a service like that?
I think it was close to over 1,000, maybe. Because she had to drive out here. It depends where you're located. But she was booked out. Like this lady was like, she was an older lady. I think she was in like Palm Desert. And she has like 3 or 4 of them. And she only brought 2. So she has like one like search and rescue one, and then the other one, I don't know, the other one's something else. But she brought the 2, and they did their thing. It took her like 2 or 3 hours, and
that's pretty amazing.
Amazing.
That's actually a very that's a cool gig right there. Like I think it would bring me a lot of satisfaction to be able to help people find their pets or some closure.
Yeah, she was booked.
Wow.
Like every single day. That's why I only like 3 days. Like I had to wait 3 days, and it rained, and I was like, "Is that going to affect the scent?" And she's like, "No, it should be good." And I was like, "Okay."
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not cool.
That
they found your cat,
it was
but
yeah. But it was a cool. Honestly, it was pretty cool. Yeah, the task itself.
Oof.
Dogs are amazing.
Well, thanks for coming on, Celine. We appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And where can they find you? What are your socials?
Okay, of course. So my TikTok is at Celine Tales, and then Instagram, I have my personal Instagram, but follow my dog's Instagram instead. It's at Draco the Dobie with 2 E's in the. And yeah.
And then your website?
So right now we're working on the websites, but I have a Hellhounds LA website. Yeah,
that's where they find your merch and all that.
Yeah.
Are you gonna come out with like other breeds or just a Doberman?
I actually did 2 other breeds. I did a Malinois,
like a stabbing
thing. I'll give you a Corso.
I'll
give you a Malinois and a Corso one. Yeah, we have both.
Oh, nice.
I just dropped. I didn't even drop them yet. Just got the samples in.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're expanding breeds. Not
so
just
if you guys want a device to you know, stab somebody if they're trying to take something from. No, I'm just playing. No, if somebody's trying to kidnap you and you need you need a keychain that you could use to defend yourself.
Here we go.
Hellhounds LA.
Yeah.
Hellhounds LA.
So guys, thank you guys for joining us. Celine, thank you so much.
Thank you guys
and
so much for
you know
having
what? You surprised me with all the knowledge. I mean, I know you know a lot, but you dropped some knowledge today for the Doberman people. That was cool. I didn't know that Dobermans had that many DCM issues. I've heard of DCM, but not like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And guys, if you guys could please share this podcast. We're not, we're not making no money off this. So if you guys feel somebody that's gonna get some from it, please share it. At Elevated Canine Academy is our training page. Royal, what's your handle?
Mine's at Roel_G.
And you can follow me at Oscar Mora Dogs. And then till next time, guys. Remember, elevate your mind,
elevate your canine.
Let's go.
Tony.
That was good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Let's get it. This that go and get it. With no hesitation. This that never quit. Start that elevation.